We're fortunate that we have a Social Science Humanity Research Council Strategic Knowledge Grant, and it's focusing on a cluster. It's a cluster grant, so it helps brings researchers from around the world and also with practitioners and policymakers. So we have co-applicants from across Canada. We have partners in refugee research centers around the world, Bogota, Johannesburg, Tehran, Calcutta, along with Oxford, Georgetown, and Australia. And we also work with the United Nations High Commission on Refugees. So these are our global partners, and the focus is really on creating knowledge that can be shared across these different groups, and particularly between global north and south.
We were successful in getting a $1.5 million grant for knowledge mobilization in the area of mental health to facilitate information and dissemination of that information for young adults making decisions about mental health treatments. And that's a national project that brings together academics, and a variety of different community partners together with young adults to assist in the knowledge mobilization process. So it's a 5-year project nationally. Dr. David Phipps is on the leadership team for the project, and at the application stage he was very integrally involved in terms of helping us to prepare the application, and more specifically in terms of bringing the information about knowledge mobilization processes to the table, because we knew that we had a goal in terms of trying to improve the quality and access to information for young adults in making decisions about mental health treatments. But we didn't have the experience in terms of, or the knowledge in terms of actually how to do that. So we had an end goal in mind, but we didn't actually have the sort of process components of how to actually make that happen. And so David brought very important expertise to the table in terms of understanding knowledge mobilization, and which was really formed the heart of this project, in particular emphasis on things like including the end user in all aspects of the project, from the development of materials to their dissemination, absolutely vital. And so forming partnerships for knowledge mobilization. So these are the kinds of things that David was absolutely pivotal in terms of bringing to the table.
When we were putting the proposal together, and of course it's a large proposal, this is 7 years of funding, so we consulted with KM, and because one of the big pieces here is not only is creating knowledge and it's disseminating knowledge. So how do we create knowledge in a way that is inclusive and participatory, that engages all our stakeholders, researchers, policymakers, and practitioners in the field? And one of the biggest things is, how do we disseminate it? How do we get it out to people in formats and forms that are accessible? So one of course, the big language issue, we're hoping to do it in English, French, Spanish, and Arabic. But it's also the form. How can we make information for policymakers in a way that's going to be accessible to them? I've worked in government, so you're looking like a one-pager. And so the KM folks have been helpful in terms of articulating how you do that, what's the form, the kind of language that you can use, how do you sort of take research knowledge and make it knowledge that's readily accessible to policymakers and to people in the field too. So how do we take research findings and interpret them in a way for the practitioner in the field? The practitioner wants to know, what does this mean to me? I don't have time to read a 25 or 30 page article, thank you, but I want to know what the impact and the meaning has for me, for my practice. I think the whole concept of knowledge mobilization is really important for the field. It's important for academics. Academics don't often, although we're learning, think about how we say things and who we're saying them to. And it's important to have that kind of advice and input so that you create your knowledge in forms that are accessible to other people. So it's in language that is clear, it's not dense, it's briefer, it's got, and perhaps even in clear points. So practitioners in the field want to know, what does this mean for me? How is my practice going to be better as a result of the information that you're getting to me?
At KM Unit, I had a very strong impact at the application stage, and continues to have a very strong impact throughout the actual execution of the grant. They have been very involved in terms of providing lots of time and expertise to assist in the application preparation, but also in the actual execution of the grant. They have been really involved in terms of providing that very important expertise on knowledge mobilization, which really forms the heart of the project. I think none of us really sort of appreciated at the beginning that how important that expertise would be. I think there's a lot of well-intentioned people that want to do a lot of good things, but actually the knowledge and information about how to actually translate how to actually form partnerships to assist in knowledge mobilization was absolutely pivotal, and I don't think we would have been as successful as we were, or the project would not have been successful as it is turning out to be without that information.